On the next all-new My Adventures with Superman.
Where am I?
You're not going to punch your way out of this one, Superman.
When is the invasion? How many of your kind will come through this time?
This time? You've met others like me? When?
You dare still pretend that you're the innocent one here?
My Adventures with Superman. All new. Next Thursday at midnight on Adult Swim. Next day on Max.
On the next all-new episode of Dr. Stone.
Your mission is to crack open that treasure chest and snag the platinum inside it. Grab the tools I sent you with the mini mice mobiles and dig. Once you've dug out your holes, get your 2 vial types, shove them on in. No time for long explanations. Science will quietly break stone.
Dr. Stone. Next Saturday at 12:30. Only Toonami on Adult Swim.
The following program may contain coarse language, suggestive dialogue, and discussion of violent imagery and sexual situations. It is intended for mature listeners who can tell the difference between facts and opinions.
It's our adventures with Superman on this episode of the Toonami Faithful podcast. I am your host, Sketch, and with me I have
Editor-in-Chief at ToonamiFaithful.com, CJ Maffris.
And
I'm Steven Oz. I just do social media stuff.
He does more than just social media stuff, I can tell you.
Nice.
And you'll find out
Behind the
what his expertise is in this episode. There's a very specific reason we've invited our staff mate Steven to join us. He has a very important set of skills that Sketch and I both, let's say, are lacking. And no, he isn't going to kidnap anyone. But you
never know.
Exactly.
he's going to kidnap someone and force them to hear Superman trivia.
Listen.
Sit there for 2 hours.
All I know is if there was a Marvel Ultimate Alliance for DC, and I mean like exactly like it, just like DC Ultimate Alliance, there was a like mini game where you would have to know like comic trivia from Marvel World. My brother was a whiz at it. We were able to ace it because of him. I have a feeling Steven would be able to 100% that rather easily.
I would say 85%. They could throw some stuff in there that's like way, out there.
There's a lot of Superman comics.
A lot of history with it. But thankfully, we get to share some history with Toonami with this series. And before we start with like a rundown of everything, I have to say, and it's something that Steve and I have talked about, I've been really enjoying this. Surprisingly. Like, I don't know what it is, but like it's not like it's kind of like that surprise Primal for me, only I think Primal is a much better show like overall in just like animation, technical stuff, like sound, all that stuff, but like legit, this has actually been a lot more fun than I was expecting. Like it even genuinely has been making me laugh. This last episode made me laugh hysterically with Jimmy and what's his face? Steve. Like, I was actually laughing out loud about that other stuff. I was just like, why is this making me laugh? This is so, like, slapstick, but yet it works. Like, it's been really good. Overall, I find the show really, really fun. Like, I might say it's not quite a Toonami show, personally. Like, if you're, like, want to be, well, actually, or technical on it, personally. Just because I think it's a little too bright, if that makes any sense. Maybe that'll change later on.
The tone is pretty happy-go-lucky.
Yeah, but like overall, I have to say it, the character designs on fucking par of what I would expect for something that I like. I really do enjoy it.
CJ, you just like Lois.
Everyone
does.
I mean, yeah.
Listen. the short hair works. All right, she is a dime. And second, that episode where they go to that party. Who was that villain again? Doctor something.
Dr. Ivo.
Yeah, she was looking good. So, by all means, 100% yes. But overall, like, I love how Jimmy looks. I love how Clark looks. The villains have looked really good. Like, after you saw Ivo, like, disfigured, I was like, oh, wow, that's a little more than I was expecting. That's really good. So... It's one of those types of things where I've been pleasantly surprised by this. And like I said, it definitely doesn't quite have the same feel of what I would expect for what Toonami's looking at right now. You know, like, and I just mean more so of a sense of like Adult Swim, you know, trying to be more adult animation style, a bit darker, so to say, or at least have subjects that are heavier than like what I would expect back like on its Cartoon Network days. You know, this definitely feels like more inspired by the animated series, which had its dark moments, obviously, but it definitely felt more bright than, say, like the Batman series, as well as Batman Beyond, which is goated without a doubt. So it's one of those types of things where I feel like it's a spiritual successor in that regard, like presentation wise. But overall, I've been thoroughly impressed. I've really enjoyed my time. It makes staying up really easy, and my night would only be better if One Piece was ahead of Fooly Cooly. I'd be so happy. But to be fair, we've been getting our most traffic on Fooly Cooly, surprisingly. So, like I say, clearly Adult Swim knows something we don't, which is evident. But I've really been pleasantly surprised by this series, and I don't know, like, it's one of those kind of things where I'm happy to be that kind of surprised. Like, I wasn't having much going into it, and then having it kind of hit me the way that it has. No, I'm very happy this is encoring on Toonami. Doesn't mean that I'm pretty happy with what we got out of San Diego Comic-Con of like originals planned for the block specifically. But no, this has been great. This has honestly been really, really good.
I can totally agree with that. It's fun. It's lighthearted. It has its serious moments, but I mean, that's what Superman is, right? At its core, it's Superman becoming this person out there aside from Clark Kent, and I do want to address that with you, CJ. That why does it feel light and uplifting and everything? It's because that's what Metropolis is.
Yeah,
right?
it's a lot different from Gotham.
Yeah, Gotham City's all dark and brooding, and it evokes what Batman is. Superman evokes what Metropolis is, this beaming city of tomorrow, this thing that can go out there and lift people's spirits up, and you have Superman there to do that. And so Toonami is this thing of like this wave of emotion, and that's what it is, a tsunami of animation, a tsunami of whatever is out there and whatever the tide brings in. And it brought in Superman, and it fits, right? It's that action cartoony, that kind of feeling of, hey, you can be this guy if you truly wanted to do this.
It makes me feel like I'm back home. I time traveled, really, which I like. I do like that. How does this compare to Smallville? Because I know this is kind of like, I guess, in a similar vein, just because you like see how Superman becomes Superman, and we're kind of getting that with My Adventures with Superman right now. How's the two compare?
So Smallville is a live action version that aired on WB starting in 1999. I'm sure that's like wrong.
It's an older show. I remember
early 90s, 2000.
Yeah, I remember it back when I was a kid. So like, that's why I asked, because I never saw it.
It aired on WB, and then it went all the way to the CW. When it first started, I think the final season aired when it was transitioning from WB to CW. They pick up at different points. So Smallville ends when he finally becomes that Superman symbol. He finally opens up his uniform. He's finally like saved the world from apocalypse coming the first time with Darkseid and everything, and he kind of goes out there and he saves the world. This is kind of like not a continuation of it. It's kind of like the time when he first wakes up and goes there his first job, right? This was covered in maybe the final 3 seasons of Smallville. So he got the job, went up there, and he did his job, and like he was known as the Blur at that time. So they kind of
I like that. Oh, that's so clever.
They kind of had that gist of it when you seen that first episode where he was like blurring and all over and like speeding really fast and everything, that kind of fading. It evokes it well, but it stands off on its own because it's a different thing. It's a different retelling of the same story, and I think that it fits. It works well. Comparing live action animation are like two different things, but the story wise,
I meant more of the story for sure.
Yeah, story wise, it's kind of the same, right? How many times can you retell the Superman?
I don't know. Ask Spider-Man with Uncle Ben keep dying.
I find an interesting similarity between that and Smallville, as I recall, is a lot of the powers came from the kryptonite, and in this case, a lot of the powers are coming from Kryptonian technology.
Yeah.
So I guess
that's a new element.
So I guess we could start there, Sketch, because like I was a bit thrown off with the starting of the series with us getting that kind of aspect for it. Because I always, and again, I have my own preconceived notions just because I'm very noobish when it comes to Superman stuff, and I'm even noobish with Marvel stuff, even though I would call myself more of a Marvel fan as opposed to the properties that I've consumed both in video games, written, and television. So like, kind of break it down for me, like when we start off with that, because that kind of threw me for a loop, seeing how they're using it more like technology from his planet as opposed from like kryptonite itself.
Yeah, they haven't really introduced kryptonite itself yet, but I'm sure that'll happen eventually. It seems like when he crash landed, however many years ago, there was some Kryptonian technology that got out there. Somebody got it, and now it's all over the city ever since Leslie Willis, aka Livewire, ended up just giving it to anybody who was interested because she didn't want it to end up with Slade Wilson and all of them.
So wait, is she not working with Slade?
Well,
No.
she wasn't. She might be forced to. That's kind of the impression I'm getting from the last time we saw her.
So right, so and I'm very, so you're gonna have to like pardon me for not knowing necessarily character stuff. So this Wilson, she's like a government contractor, some sort, or some sort of military personnel.
Are you asking about Slade Wilson or Leslie Willis?
Willis, thank you, Leslie. Because Slade, I always thought was a mercenary.
I believe that Willis is just Willis is just. I think she's just a crook.
Oh, okay.
She just stole some technology and wanted to make some money off of it.
Got you. And she's spreading it around. And then, so what I'm getting at from at least what we got up to this episode, the most recent episode of 5, is that she's doing this. She pretty much created a monster in Slade just because he has the technology that he has, which he probably got from her, buying it, whatever. And then all of a sudden you have General Lane, who's like, I hate Superman for bringing this stuff here as opposed to the people using it. And they're kind of like working together to like stop Superman from bringing potentially more disasters? I don't know.
Yeah. Also, there's Amanda Waller in there, and she usually has her own motivations for things. So
okay,
it's hard to say what the ultimate goal is of this government organization.
Oh, I can tell you what it is.
It's
there's only one thing. It's to control Superman. They want to use him as a weapon.
That too. But they say their ultimate goal is to protect the Earth, but in order to do that, they will control people that have powers. They will try to control Superman. They have a lot of interest in him at this point, but when they had the option to get some tech back or go after Superman. And it's like, no, get the tech.
Okay.
We'll get Superman another time.
It's just interesting, just because like, I'm learning as I'm watching, thanks to of course Steven, and now of course being on this podcast with you as well, Sketch, because you seem to be just as well versed, which is great. I love the fact that I'm gonna say it because it's gonna be funny. I love it when I'm the dumbest one on the podcast. I am so happy about it.
He's the Steve.
Yes, exactly. But
You scooped it.
I really do enjoy this type of retelling because I think it makes a lot of sense, especially with how technology has advanced like now. Like it'd be kind of weird like seeing older kind of time periods with Superman now, because I don't think that would attract necessarily a new audience or a younger audience. But when they have it a little bit more like relatable, I think that's a really good idea. So like making these weapons that came from alien technology, and it's like you have all these conflicting interests and people who have different ideas of what they should do with it or if they should do anything with it. So I don't know, I found it kind of fascinating because like I didn't quite get it until obviously at least I didn't get it until like we got to the more recent episode when things are tying more together, and of course, you know, live tweeting with Steven helping me when I'm like, I have no idea what the heck is happening. Well, he did
Superman's fighting Deathstroke. That's what's happening.
Well, what was funny is all of a sudden, like, he did a tweet. It's like General Lane. I was like, wait, is that Lois's dad? And he's like, you don't know this? So just like, I thought she was like an only child, like orphan. Like I had no freaking clue that she had a family.
No, she's an army brat.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
There's only one military guy that's in like every Superman episode, and it's General Lane.
Well, what about that live action movie with Martha thing? Like, was that Lois's father that died in that like fighter jet?
In Batman vs Superman?
Yeah. I don't think that was her dad. So. Was it?
I mean, they could have.
I mean, there's other military people that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not always General Lane.
Okay,
but it's always
so far in this show they're referring to him as the General, which you might catch is what Lois calls him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So, but I actually didn't make that connection until just now. I was like, oh, that's very interesting because we keep seeing these flashes of General Lane being involved with that crash.
Mm-hmm.
Which, maybe that's how her mother died.
Mm.
That's kind of dark for this show. Actually.
Yeah. It's dark, but it's something I don't think. I mean, you guys can correct me wrong if you know it, or maybe I'll check it out later on. But I don't think any show really examined where her mother was. Or like in how she became this child that the General Lane had to take care of and move around to all these army bases.
I'm not the one to ask on that one.
Yeah.
You know, you can just tweet it to us at Toonami's Faithful, and we'll see it and it'll go by.
Look at this pro plug right there.
Yeah. So. They're doing the kind of villain of the week thing currently, but they're also building towards something, obviously.
They're building some love.
They deal with Leslie Willis, and she gets the electric suit, which after using it too much and it getting damaged, it starts giving her electricity powers. So it seems like they're doing kind of taking a classic villain, kind of redoing them for the modern age, and then something happens and they become closer to the classic version of that character. Like what we got with Parasite. Like as soon as I heard the word Parasite, I'm like, oh no, this is not going to end well. They don't, this is probably the first time that they have combined, Dr. Anthony Ivo with Parasite, so that is an interesting change.
But that it does make sense of what he makes at his company.
Yeah. He he's building all these armor and weapons, but his Amazo company kind of nodding to the fact that Amazo is gonna happen at some point somehow, and his assistant named Alex has red hair. Maybe one Alexander Luthor. Perhaps. You're not that clever, show. You're not that clever. You're clever about certain things.
I'm still waiting for Brainiac to show up, man. That villain haunts me, dude.
Well, I feel like there's a strong possibility that Brainiac is somewhere in that ship.
Oh, he has to be.
Because all kinds of bad stuff has come from that ship.
Never also, get on the ship.
Very interesting choice to have Kal-El's father, Jor-El, not speak English. Because, of course, he doesn't know English.
That's perfect sense. That's like what would happen if something, would happen like here, real life. I mean, would that person actually understand English, understand the technology to, like, I mean, that doesn't make sense. Like, how does one process a alien coming here and then you being raised your whole life speaking one thing, and then all of a sudden your whole life is turned upside down by finding out you're an alien, and oh yeah, your father does not speak the same language you do.
Yeah, but he managed to communicate with him through visions. So yeah, I'm sure that we'll get more of that as things progress, but how great was it? He has magical girl transformation.
That was awesome.
Amazing.
And then his mom's like, it's missing something. Maybe a belt, definitely some trunks.
And a magic
I love
wand.
His mom. They are obviously trying to make her look like Deku's mom.
No, they are not. It's just a trope.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not like, it wasn't like it was inspired by My Hero Academia. Let's not get crazy.
I mean, there's a lot of anime-inspired things in this.
Let's not get crazy. I bet you these people are like Paul and hate anime.
No, definitely not. They happen to like shoujo anime a lot.
That is a cut above regular anime sketch. We do not degrade shoujo with our typical other anime shows.
Shonen, shonen. I mean, there's a little bit of DBZ in here. Don't even lie. There's at least a little bit. Also, several mechs that look a lot like Evangelions.
They do.
It makes perfect sense to have Superman fight a robot for the first thing he fights. It makes perfect sense because it's a good way to test his strength without hurting a human being. So, gotta have Superman fight a robot first thing. That's how it always works.
Yeah, classic villain.
Well, it's like the Sam Jack approach. Yeah, we're not showing any blood. It's just oil. He's slicing up robots. Totally legit. Kids love it.
Exactly. It's totally fine. Yeah. So this show has also introduced some other characters that are kind of amalgamations of various characters from DC Comics. Like, I don't know if anybody's a big fan of Intergang, but they might be a little disappointed at this version of Intergang, which happened to be just a bunch of kids that are bad at robbing stores. But among them, you have Roughhouse is an actual member of Intergang. You have Mist, who is not usually a member of Intergang, and Silver Banshee, who is also not usually a member of Intergang. But, it works. When I first saw Silver Banshee, I was like, oh, is this like that one like a female version of that one guy with the sound powers? Like, no, that's actually supposed to be Silver Banshee. But what's with that hollow mask?
Yeah, it's weird, but it works, right? He's fighting some like weird alien tech powered people that he's like, hey, don't do this anymore. That's Superman.
Be careful with the ice beam, guys. The thing doesn't turn off very easily.
Then where's my Batman in this series sketch?
Oh, Batman's Lois Lane.
Oh, oh.
That's literally what the show creators said.
Oh, really?
Whereas Superman is looking for, peace and prosperity and helping everyone. Lois Lane is about justice. She's about, righting the wrongs. So in that sense,
winning
she's
that
like
award.
Batman. Yeah, that too. It's so weird to have a version of Lois Lane who's not already an ace reporter. I just kind of have to wrap my brain around that, but it's good. She's currently trying to prove herself and having a hard time doing it.
I mean, in Smallville, she was already up there, or just at least a reporter enough that she would break stories, and she would do that because she was in that last few seasons of Smallville, because right then it was Lana Lane. Yeah, it was like the cousin or something.
Mm-hmm. So, this is, of course, a very different interpretation where Clark and Jimmy are already friends before they even start working at the planet. They're roommates even, and they're meeting Lois for the first time. So usually Lois doesn't find out who Superman is until she's, an established reporter, but because this is also when Superman's first, in all other versions, when Superman comes to Metropolis, that's when he's already, working as a reporter as Clark Kent. So, you kind of have to roll with that change. And I think it's funny because their relationship is so darn cute.
It totally is.
I just want to see these kids get together.
I just want to see them kiss. The last episode, the last scene, they just kiss.
Well, I mean, you kind of got your heart-wrenching moment when she's like, we're going to find this out one way or another.
Oh, yeah.
Reckless Lois.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing new, people.
As Steven would say, typical Lois, apparently.
It is. It's this is what she does, right? She finds out, hey, Clark's keeping some secret from her. She doesn't like any secrets. And then one way or another, she just jumps off a building to prove that Clark is Superman. And it's like, that's every Superman movie, every Superman anything. It's always her jumping off a building to do that. And it's like, one day, girl, you might make a mistake.
Yeah. And what if that was actually Clark Kent?
Yeah.
Oh, I shot him with a blank.
Yeah.
Oh, got you. Got you. But I mean, let's not make light of this. George Reeves had a very traumatic experience where a kid tried to shoot him, and he had to try and talk the kid down from doing it because the kid didn't have a good grasp of reality. Yeah, so let's not make light of shooting people to make sure they're Superman.
What's that? I'm about to do exactly what you just said. Give me a second.
Everything in this podcast is a disclaimer. Nothing is real.
Nothing is real, including the hosts.
We are
not here.
We are just simulations built up by Tom and Sarah. And Wormy. Got to throw in Wormy.
That's right. But let us stress that we are not AI.
No.
Not at all.
Listen, I was telling Steven this when I was a kid.
There's
Brainiac,
nothing artificial or intelligent among us.
Brainiac was the scariest villain for me, so no, definitely not. I don't know what it was, but it freaked me out as a kid.
And Brainiac will be really good in this show, I think.
Oh yeah, when they get to that point of building it up, because who are they showing in the title card. Who are the shadows?
Yeah.
That's something that's interesting right there.
Like, I feel like that big figure in the far, far back is probably Brainiac.
Seems like it.
I'm pretty sure I can identify everybody else. I see Slade. I see Heatwave. I see the Inner Gang kids. I see Parasite and Livewire.
And who's that space bounty hunter, Lobo? When's he coming in?
Oh, man.
Oh.
I hope they use him.
He seemed to be so popular from the animated series.
That guy, he wanes in popularity because he's like the Deadpool of DC.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, so
he doesn't.
I thought he was just a Superman thing, so he could be just all over DC.
He is a Superman thing, but he's like a kind of amalgamation of who the audience is. Right, they're seeing him in some other thing, and while he doesn't break that fourth wall like Deadpool does, he kind of like goes wild, like taking over the scenery and everything else in the show, and it's like, hey, this is my shit now. This is who I am.
What do you know? The male Harley Quinn.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll show up. I don't know. He probably
got
should.
White skin and crazy hair.
I do have to say, or at least ask, because this name has been brought up a lot. Was it Darkseid or
Darkseid?
Is he like the worst villain for Superman, or?
Yeah.
He's the worst villain for like the DC universe.
Yeah, he's like
so he's Thanos,
the biggest of big bads. Yeah. Yes, quite literally.
This guy,
basically the same character.
Do you see any lead up to him?
The stuff with
certainly. I mean,
okay.
Yeah, I would say the stuff with Intergang. I mean, and maybe the alien technology, because I want to say, if they start using boom tubes or something like some teleportation thing, then yes. But if they start doing like, I mean, the alien tech, if we want to like really investigate it, the alien tech is Kryptonian based, but if it was kryptonite, Superman couldn't do his usual Superman stuff, right?
Yeah.
He's allergic to it, right? You know, that's the best thing you can say about it, right? It drains him of all his powers in some one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
If this was alien tech that Darkseid uses, like maybe their ships crashed or some other, thing happened that his ship landed in Kansas and something out the debris field landed where General Lane was and everything else. If that was that, then this could be the lead up to a Darkseid thing.
I like where your head's at. That's some real good storytelling.
Yeah, then you have like Granny Goodness coming in, and you have, these other kind of different heroes and or villains coming in and just going crazy in Metropolis, because Metropolis is a character in itself. And the one thing that's like the one way of how do you make a Superman video game? If Superman's invulnerable, what do? The last video game that came out with Superman Returns, which was based on the movie, was that the city was the point of destruction, right? If the city got too much destructed, it would be game over, right? And so what would happen is while they didn't face a Darkseid, this could be a way of doing it, because Metropolis and Apocalypse, the planet, would always combine, always like this like symbiotic relationship where it was like, hey, if this one was here, Darkseid soon to follow because he wants to get Superman, and somehow Superman wants to stop him because it was the one thing, the anti-life equation. And that's basically the big bad of, the big good or bad, depending on who would have the equation. And it's basically, the Infinity Stone and the Infinity Gauntlet and Marvel stuff, because whoever has that basically rules everything and like destroys everything. I know it's weird.
I really like your theories with this because it makes a lot of sense to me, right? And I'm not someone who's very well versed when it comes to this stuff. So like all of a sudden you mention like, oh hey, this could be lead up here. This is like how you see this kind of symbiotic relationship between like Superman and Metropolis. And I don't know, it's fascinating, and I guess maybe it feels more fascinating for me because I'm kind of taking like this more recent telling as is, right? I don't have any preconceived notions so much. Like I couldn't draw comparisons from like the animated series that aired on Toonami or Justice League Unlimited because I wouldn't say like I didn't like I liked them. I just didn't really invest time to just be like, hey, why don't I find out about this or why don't I find out of that? You know, it was more so of a sense of just I took things as is for that. And so hearing how you're seeing like potential foundations being laid for what could come with My Adventures with Superman, this might turn out to be even more of a hit than I thought. Because I like that. I like that kind of storytelling. And of course I'm biased because you're talking to a Kingdom Hearts fan. So like, that's just foreshadowing upon foreshadowing. So it's one of those types of things where I always enjoy that type of storytelling. I will say, so I'm sure people will be like, well, so then you really love Marvel's Cinematic Universe. No, not really. just making TV shows, man. Like at this point, like it was cute when it led up to Endgame, right? And like the Thanos stuff, but now it's getting a bit much. So it's just like I like storytelling where you have to like really dive into it. But yet what while I do like that, My Adventures with Superman seems to be something where you can just take it as is, which I really like too.
Oh yeah, you don't have to dig deep into the lore to actually understand what this show's about. It's about a relationship between three friends, and one of them just happens to be some guy who's like a god, and you know, it's kind of like My Hero Academia. It is with that lore of you can dig deep if you want, right? It's there. You see all these characters and. We all know what Amanda Waller looks like. And I
didn't. So let's not go too crazy with those.
Okay, we'll press the brake on that one. But you understand of like this. There's something other than the surface thing. There's a lot of digging deeper, and I gotta say, a lot of people, that I see on social media doing the stuff with Toonami's Faithful and making all the tweets and that, a lot of people like it, and a lot of people see like the new incarnation of Slade Wilson, and it's like, oh, Slade's here, and it's like, wait a minute, what about Teen Titans?
I was about to say, where's my Teen Titans sketch? I need to know what happened when they found Terra again. God damn it.
Probably never gonna get that again.
No,
but,
we never will.
Know.
And Teen Titans,
I was not ready for Pretty Boy Slade.
And then Teen Titans Go said, "Oh, if you watch this movie, we'll bring it back." You fucking liars!
Well, they did bring it back for a crossover.
You fucking liars!
That was just a poor man's Turtles Forever.
Oh, just when I thought Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans had it bad. God damn it.
So I do want to say I'm looking at the title card for the Superman intro of all the villains in the background. There are a lot. And there are a lot. A lot of them I'm like, these are some really interesting incarnations of them if they are. I do want to say, I don't know if that's Brainiac in the background, but there's a guy with red eyes back there, and there's only one person with red eyes in the Superman DC universe.
Lobo.
That's kind of bad.
Well, yes.
Yeah. You do have
it's either Lobo or Darkseid.
Or Godzilla, I just heard. What the heck? Did Superman fight Godzilla?
There's a Godzilla-looking creature back there. I do think that's someone who
I thought that was Parasite.
See, that's the thing. I think that might be Amazo. That might be like an evolved form of Parasite Amazo, because Parasite's taking the powers, and what Amazo does is replicate the powers, right? CJ, you know of the Taskmaster.
I'm not as familiar, but I do know of the name, yes.
Yeah, so the Taskmaster.
I think that was like my brother's favorite DC villain.
He's a Marvel villain, actually.
Marvel. Oh, yeah, then that's why I've heard the name, because my brother's like, no, this dude's awesome. So there we go. He likes both. Unlike many like snobs, you have to pick one or the other. He actually likes both. And then throw in Spawn too. He just loves comics.
Well, hey, you got a good person. You can talk to him about this show.
I will not.
He will not.
A lot of interesting things. What we're looking at, like the first 5 episodes. We're 5 episodes into this thing, and if we're seeing the things with Parasite and with could be an Amazo type villain coming in, because Ivo has his Amazo tech, all the phones. If you looked at episode 5, when Jimmy and Superman are calling each other, there's the Amazo tech logo on there. So everything's Amazo in this universe. And so the Taskmaster, as I was saying to UCJ, is basically a Marvel villain who can copy any moves after he sees it at once. Amazo basically is a robot that does the same thing. He gets the powers. He gets the powers of all, the Justice League, and basically takes them out. And this is what Amazo was always there to do. So Ivo making Amazo, making his Parasite suit. If the Parasite suit's taking powers and understanding them, kind of like a computer or an AI thing, then this could be the next step of having Amazo in it. I don't know. I mean, it's just tons of theories on what can happen in this.
We just have a lot of setup that's distracting us from the real story of a love tale between two young people who want to know the truth about each other.
Yeah, and it's beautiful.
And poor Jimmy, who keeps getting ignored.
I know, and he wasn't ignored at the end of the last episode we saw.
Yeah.
I don't know if he wanted that kind of attention, but he got it.
Yeah, I still think there's something up with Jimmy. I think Jimmy knew the whole time. And I told you this, CJ, I think, when we were doing the tweets. I think Jimmy knew the whole time that Clark was Superman.
Well, I mean, he even said things like, gee, I wonder how my alarm clock keeps getting broken every day.
Yep. There's a lot of coincidences, because if Lois can catch on that fast, Jimmy's right there.
Well, he was a little thrown off by all the bagels, so I mean,
True.
You can't be completely sure about that.
True.
I love that too. Where it's like, is this about? Are you just hungry, or is something going on? I said,
this cream cheese,
right? It's just even funny. That was also really funny too. Or how about
he came back without a bagel?
Or how about the fact where all of a sudden Lois is like, "What is in this? A dumbbell?" Opens it. It's in fact a dumbbell. She's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And then Clark just picks it up casually, throws it onto the cabinet, crushes the cabinet.
What is a cabinet made of in that universe? Tinfoil? To crush it that much?
It was so funny. No,
Obviously not as sturdy as the table.
I was laughing about. I was legitimately laughing about it. I was like, "There's no freaking way. That's too good. That's too good."
Steve Lombard, just reviewing dumbbells in the newspaper, Daily Planet.
Oh, and I
okay.
His YouTube page? Nah.
As soon as that happened, I was like, yeah, that's realistic.
Oh, I know that feeling very much, Jimmy. Everyone on this podcast knows your pain on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Of course you'd immediately have a troll.
Yep.
Nah.
But the really amusing thing to me is he finds out that Jimmy is Flamebird, and he's like, oh, cool. Okay, film me.
Yeah. You're going to film me trashing you, and you're going to like it.
He's going to take him under his wing.
We got to stick together. Nah.
He gives him a lot of bad advice, but he does give him some good advice. Some. A little.
Nah.
Nah.
The one advice that he gave him, scoop it. That's all he's going to do. He's going to come in and scoop that, title.
How unobservant is the prison?
Oh, true.
Worded?
True.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Cat Grant. Yes.
Yep.
You don't look anything like Cat Grant.
Yeah, just let them in. They're good enough.
dibs on not Steve.
You know what's funny? I can attest to you that does work. What Lois and them did. Trust me.
CJ knows those ways.
I do.
Well, I mean, it's easy enough to do at an anime convention. You just take somebody else's badge.
I know, but I'm talking about like a little more, I don't know, important, I guess, situations with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Jimmy's being a little too hard on Clark and Lois for not being at his beck and call at all moments. I mean, it's a very busy city and emergencies happen all the time.
Yeah, as we saw from the scanner.
Don't necessarily have the opportunity to pick up the phone. I feel like it didn't used to be the case that people would expect you to respond to them immediately. But now, since everybody has cell phones, they know you're just a text or a phone call away.
Mm-hmm. Don't get me started on that. I'd be like, no, I'm going to take my time even if I want to with that. I don't care.
I did love the police scanner. Oh, never mind. Superman already took care of it. Oh, never mind. Superman already took care of that too.
Yep, you got that.
Or how about the fact where Lois handcuffs herself to him? It's like, oh yes, the man who could literally break anything in the freaking planet, and it's like, yes, you found the one thing.
I love the fact that he takes her to the planet and then is like, okay, enough with the handcuff.
Yeah,
I'm done with it. Takes it the iconic top of the Daily Planet. It's
it would
have
been funny too. It's like, oh, you didn't seem to want to take it away when we were dancing together. Listen, Clark. I totally get it. I am right there with you. What you would say is a nuisance, I would say you're very lucky. So, So take the dubs when you can, my friend.
I was getting flashbacks to Marin busting out of her cosplay and Gojo trying to fix it when Lois was trying to fix Clark. Like, oh man, he's too swole. Busting out of that shirt. Like, ooh, little Lois back action. This is why it's on Adult Swim.
Yeah, as soon as you saw that it was just like, yep, you know exactly where this is heading. Toonami understands the audience, and trust me, the audience is very happy.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of stuff out there in the art section that's like, whoa.
We're not going to go there, Steve. You could do that on Darrell's episode. Because I've seen a meme.
I joke, but that's probably one of the legitimate reasons why Cartoon Network went, Adult Swim, maybe you should play that.
Yeah,
but
especially when you get some shots.
Playing it.
When you got shots of like her, I would say on her butt.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I definitely see what they're trying to do here. And hey, I'm a card-carrying adult. I'm very happy about that. I'm never going to complain. Yeah, absolutely. But I absolutely see the reason why you'd say maybe you'd want to change this up. But let me tell you, Lois has become super popular from the series on, as Steven was mentioning, very, very popular, which is good. I like that, especially because, like, sure, it's debuting on Adult Swim. In fact, it's going to be debuting in about, 2.5 hours? So it's just like, that's awesome because like you'll still be able to find an audience with it on Toonami. It's like, hey, I wasn't able to catch it on Thursday. Maybe I'll catch it on Saturday instead, right? It's like, oh, cool. It's like that effect where you have a show that's popular enough where it's just like, oh, cool, I can check it. Like you're grabbing some of the audience if they might want to see it again or see it for the first time, that type of thing, which I think is really good. At least personally, I don't know. I was like, it's like the same reason of why I was okay with like Primal, airing on Adult Swim before Toonami. You know what I mean? It's just like you're still gonna get like a sizable audience just because they like Primal. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to begrudge the fact that it isn't premiering on the block. Would I have liked it to? Of course. Like, who would? Like, let's be honest. I made joke about Toonami. It's like, it's all right, Toonami. You can go now. Your job is done. But, like, I always want the block to, like, premiere these types of shows, of course. Especially one that seems to be gaining some traction like this one. Like, it's awesome. Because it's certainly doing better than Unicorn Princess.
Yeah, in terms of like
You
social
just
media.
call Unicorn Warriors Eternal that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't like it.
I mean, you don't have to explain yourself to me. I wasn't too up on it either.
You have to explain yourself to me. No.
Well, no, the thing is, like, I'll say this with that show, Emma was great. So, like, that at least had it going, because her facial expressions were on point. Absolutely fantastic, and a wonderful character overall, too. But no, I did not like it. That's why I'm very happy about how this one's going, because it's like, I was getting
characters that I actually find entertaining.
I know, a story that I find interesting. Something that I want to focus on.
I would say this
a character that I find attractive, too. You're winning me over with this.
I would say, CJ, that this show has a harder time because it is established characters. How many times can you reinvent Superman for a new age?
Tell that to that DC movie where they made it like Mortal Kombat.
That also had a Mazo in it.
But I mean, like, I was watching clips of that, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Maybe
Look,
I'm okay with retelling the
that's the
same
biggest-
story.
That's the biggest thing about this show. It's so refreshing because we haven't had a good Superman in so long. This is
that's true.
Superman. This is just regular old good boy in blue Superman. And it's so refreshing because we have been so inundated with edgy Superman for so long, and it's just refreshing.
Yeah, it's like what was that show that aired on what Kids WB? It was what was it? The one where Superman went to the 31st century?
Legion of Superheroes?
Yeah, that one. It's kind of like that, right? The Legion of Superheroes was like all fun. It was all cool. You know, there was some like relationship stuff in there. They took him back in time, and he was like a teenager and everything. And then season 2 comes in. They split Superman in two to have like blue Superman and red Superman, and they were both edgy. And they were both like, oh, kill them all. And I'm like, this is not Superman. This is some, character that's like, who wants revenge on something that's not Superman
I
himself.
seem to recall people actually like the second season of that more than the first.
Well, then count me in the minority, because I did not. I thought to myself, that's not Superman. That's some crazy guy that's like has Superman powers, and the only thing
It's
that
My
I can
Chemical
remember from
Romance Superman.
Yeah, edgy hair.
It doesn't help that he's
dreadlock.
voiced by Sasuke.
Oh no!
Not that Yuri Lowenthal can't also sound like not Sasuke. I
was about to say,
he
look at
was
Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's a great Peter Parker. He's a great Kal-El.
He is. I would say this, like, it has a harder time because it has this preconceived notion, but in the opposite way, it's new, it's fresh, it's something different than what we had, right? We had a lot of live action stuff. We currently have on the CW Superman and Lois, which is kind of like the adult version of this, right? They're established. Superman quit his job. Lois is still writing remotely for the Daily Planet, or what? I think she has a job now for the Smallville newspaper. I'm like, I don't know what your reach is for that, but you're not going to get any Pulitzer Prize for that. But it's a different, it's a different way of retelling it. And I want to say, for someone who really likes animation and what they do in it, this is a perfect medium for this story of saying, hey, this is Superman. This is him just coming out of college, just trying to start his first job, and all the missteps in it. And that's the perfect thing with Superman. He makes mistakes. And that's why this is Superman. And then that's why I would say this Superman is succeeding, because he makes mistakes. He is your everyday person. He is not perfect. he still, crushes toasters, crushes, the alarm clocks, still gets the bid put on by the local bodega run shop owner, He still does this stuff, and it's like, oh, I'll fix that door later. He still helps out and becomes the everyman that you want to aspire to, but he still lives his life as a person. Him crushing with Lois, and I mean, looking at Superman, I can tell why Lois is in love with him, because it's like, man, that's some good artwork right there.
He's so true. It's funny because it's true.
Just look at him. I mean, it's like looking at him and you see like the pixels and it's all shiny and everything. And I'm rubbing my eyes. I'm thinking, man, why is it so blurry in here? You're looking at it and it's like, I understand why they are crushing on each other. The looks aside, but it's like they understand, and maybe it's like something of like they might break up second season or whatever and then come running back.
Boy, I hope so.
Yeah.
It's
things are seeming a little rocky at the moment.
Yeah. I'll be there for the rebound. Let me tell you.
I want this show to not rush back to them being, everything's good, but I also don't want it to drag it out either.
Yeah.
So, maybe a couple.
I have a feeling things will I wouldn't say drag. I feel like this episode will get resolved to an extent, but it'll be like those soft type of resolves, and then like maybe later on it'll be more about that. But I definitely see how, because like they're both going to be involved with trying to help Jimmy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I have a feeling, like I say,
and they're both gonna apologize him profusely.
Yeah.
It's like, Jimmy, we're so sorry. We didn't want you to get kidnapped by a gorilla. It's going to be Gorilla Grodd, isn't it?
It has to be.
It could be the Ultra Humanite.
It could be, yeah.
But it's probably Gorilla Grodd.
Yeah, the way they're doing some secret facility out there pretending it's Bigfoot. Yeah, it has to be Grodd.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Grodd's more of a Flash villain, but I mean...
Yeah, so is Heatwave, but
yeah,
whatever.
It's whatever it is. They can throw whoever it is in there. It doesn't matter. It's still a good show.
Yeah.
Man, I do hope the Flash shows up in this some point, because that would be fun.
Oh, the race? Could you imagine both of them racing?
Yes.
See, that I actually do know about.
There you go.
I want that in the second batch.
No, but as you can tell,
will be a second batch.
As you can tell, Sketch, we're pretty pumped about the series, and it's happy. It's nice to talk about a fun series that we actually like instead of one that just we have to because it's there. You know what I mean? Because it feels like that's been the case a lot. I know Dr. Stone was a nice little change of pace, but I feel like lately we just haven't really been enjoying the shows that have made it on the block.
Mm-hmm. I mean...
And it won't stop, because I have a feeling we won't necessarily be thrilled with a few shows, but, But...
I'm actually pretty optimistic about Fooly Cooly Grunge.
I actually am too, but I'll put it that it can go away very fast.
Oh yes, for sure.
So it's just one of those.
A lot of people are like, "Oh, it's ugly."
I actually don't think it looks that bad.
I think it. I mean, it's not fantastic. I'll give you that, but I think it works for what they're going for.
Yes, but I just meant more so in the sense of with Food Wars, Unicorn Warriors Eternal. I almost did it again, but I wasn't going to. I mean, as much as I love Fena Pirate Princess, the last 2 episodes really kind of made me sad.
They were trash. I don't want to say that, but
I'll tell you, it took a 8, maybe 9 show and brought it down to a 6.
Yeah, and then of course, the last Toonami original that really caught my attention was Shenmue, and then that's just gone into the ether. So it's one of those kind of things where it's been depressing on that front. But the fact that this has at least felt legitimately more upbeat and more enjoyable to consume, I'm very happy.
And I just hope I don't have to tweet Primal for the 6th time, because I mean I got tired of that. Primal's a good show, but tweeting out for the 6th time. I ran out of stuff, to be honest with you.
How many more?
Ran out of anything.
Can't come up with any more jokes for the same episodes.
Steven, at that point, you'd just be like, guys, we got nothing. You just tweet that over and over for the show.
I got nothing for this. You want to see an image of a guy like looking through the, brush, and I'm like, okay, there you go. You got something. I can only make the same joke like
one
2
more,
times.
two more things I want to, this definitely wears its anime influence on its sleeve. It is the animation's outsourced to Studio Mir. They did Legend of Korra, Voltron for Netflix,
But so, the internet told me no one liked
Boy,
Korra.
This looks like Voltron. Sure
Sketch.
Looks like Voltron.
Sketch. The internet told me no one liked Legends of Korra.
I mean, that's debatable.
Thank you.
Do you take all your information from the internet, CJ?
Well, we work in it, so I have no choice.
Oh, okay, then.
But the thing that I don't even know what to think of it, but it's really charming that the ending kind of feels like an anime ending, right? But the opening is so mid-2000s kids anime dub, it hurts.
Wait a minute, you didn't like the pirate rap?
I mean, I have a relationship with the pirate rap, but I'm talking about, like, the Naruto opening, right?
There are many.
The American one.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Definitely heavy vibes like that, but also like pretty much any of those toyetic shows that didn't have an opening with lyrics. Pretty much
like
any
an
of those.
FMV.
Yeah. Oh, you know what it really reminds me of? The Prince of Tennis and Mare openings.
I loved Mare opening.
I mean, it's just super generic.
I loved it though. It was the music had me hyped.
Fair enough. But the Prince of Tennis one, man, Oh man, so glad we got a proper dub of that. So glad. But yeah, it's just and it also comes off like an AMP for sure. For sure, it's such an AMP. It's actually done by a real band. Opening theme, Up, Up, and Away by Kyle Troop and the Heretics.
I need to listen to the whole thing then.
Congrats for getting paid. It's a very short song.
Hey, you never know. They can make them longer.
Oh, they definitely could. I mean, I would say it's no Fight is Won from Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
That's a certified banger.
Yeah, it is.
The other show that this really reminds me of as far as superhero shows go is Spectacular Spider-Man.
Oh, you're totally right.
Because, the animation is deceptive compared to the storytelling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, you look at it, it's like, this looks bright, happy, fun. Oh, it gets kind of dark sometimes.
Yeah.
How about that? It's an interesting juxtaposition. Hey, it's one of the reasons why I love One Piece. Juxtaposition.
There we go. Mm-hmm. The word of the day.
Yes. The word of the day. We already talked about that on the previous podcast, but it bears repeating. Rest in peace, Paul Rubens.
Raise a glass.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. You got anything else you want to talk about, guys? We've been going for about an hour.
More Lois back shots.
Preach.
Tasteful.
The show to be
tasteful back shots, though.
Yes, tasteful. Okay. Very tasteful.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I'll be honest. I prefer that, honestly, because it's like it's like a tease type of thing. I like that.
Yeah, leave a little something to the imagination.
It's
very important.
And if you can't give us more like backshots like we did from that party, just have more parties.
There you go.
More
Makes
parties.
sense. Yeah.
Lois, really, you're gonna walk up to very important people and be like, "You have to answer my questions." Actually, no, I don't. I don't know you. Go away.
Make me.
Yeah. Make me. I loved when Clark was like, "You know what, Mr. Ivo? How about you answer for all of these things?" Like, yeah. Then he got thrown out.
It finally added up in his head. It's like, I'm going to do it finally. He's going to stand up. And it's like, you need to be less Superman and more Clark in that situation.
Yeah.
I do want to say that question that Lois asked Superman, do you know Clark Kent? And he goes, yeah, I know. He's a fine young man. I'm like, there are millions of people in Metropolis. Why would you answer that question that way? I mean, do you want him to, like, is he like trying to push them together? You know, his alter ego trying to like say, okay, dude, let me just push you out of here and let's say maybe I can, you know.
Somebody who constantly saves Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen would probably know who Clark Kent is.
But he's never there.
That's a good point.
If he's never there, how can he see him? Oh, I just seen him over in the corner. Yeah, he's fine. He's okay. I'm like,
by the way, perfect timing for him leaving and then coming up the stairs.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
I would believe he's not Superman. That was fast. He's very fast.
He could, you know, you could have did the old Flash trick where he was like in Flash, you know, going so fast that he would be in two places at once. A superposition kind of, you know, science thing where he's like two places at once. But I mean, you know, he's the Man of Steel. Maybe he can't run as fast.
Nah, he can't. He's not that fast. Don't tell him I said that.
Keep that our secret.
Yeah. So, if you've been enjoying my adventures with Superman, or maybe not enjoying it, you can throw your comments at us at our email at podcast@ToonamiFaithful.com. You can follow us on Facebook.com/Toonami Podcast and on Twitter @Toonami Podcast.
It's not Twitter, it's X now.
I haven't updated my phone. It still says Twitter.
Me too. I'm never going to update it. I will keep the bird forever.
Forever.
I'm going to give him the bird. And you can listen to the podcast on just about everything, including Apple Podcasts, CastBox, Deezer, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Overcast, Podbean, Podbay, Podcast Addict, Radio.com, Spotify, and the TuneIn app. Alas, Stitcher has been absorbed into another company. And you can find every episode of the podcast to stream online at soundcloud.com/Toonami Faithful Podcast. And get the latest news by following @Toonami News on Twitter and or X. And read the news, views, and reviews on ToonamiFaithful.com. We also have other social media platforms. Hey, Steven, tell everybody about all our other social media platforms.
We are on Blue Sky, the X, Twitter, whatever site that is that from the other guy who made Twitter. We are on Threads. That's a fun one. We post stuff on there too. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and every other social media network that we can get on because
Hive. Are we on Mastodon?
Yeah, I think so. At least we post on there sometimes. I think so. I don't know.
Too many social medias.
There's too many out there, but hey, just look us up. If we're not on there, I'll give you a thing. You contact us through the email, or you can contact us on any of our other social media websites. We will get on the website just for you.
Yeah. If you really want it.
Yeah.
And where can they find you, Stephen?
I'm MXA Ghost on X, Twitter. You just type MXA Ghost. I'm like that all over, except on PlayStation. But who wants to play with me on there. And then yeah, that's about it. I do social media stuff. It's whatever.
And CJ, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter. Yes, I'm going to still call it that. At CJ Maffris. You can find me pretty much on anything with that, whether it be Twitch, Threads, anything I can really get my hands on that I feel like I want to. And you can, check out the stuff that I do there, like my weekly Toonami articles this week from Toonami, yada yada. All that good stuff. You probably won't, at least I hope you won't see me as much, because that means things are going good. The more you see me, the more things are going bad.
Don't say that.
Oh, I don't mean for Toonami. I just mean in general.
I like to see CJ when he pops in on the internet. It's fun.
Yeah. He doesn't have time for that.
Not as much as I would like. I have to make a lot
Too busy with League of Legends and Pokemon.
No, see, okay. I will stop you there. I do not play League of Legends. I will watch it, but I can do things more important while I'm watching. So, like, that's just merely like having,
okay.
Like, I don't know, Monday night football if you're a football fan, right? Or a basketball game. Like, that's my, like, League of Legends is that. So, like, I can do that. That's my background noise. It's whatever. But yes, as Sketch is alluded to, I am doing VGC.
You got your fantasy League of Legends?
They actually have that, and I think it's the dumbest thing. I can't do it. I could not. I'm like, this is dumb. I just want to watch the games. That's it. I am doing VGC. I've found out that the next circuit actually starts in September, unlike this past year that started in January. So I don't have 5 months vacation. I have a month until the circuit just starts right back up. I am going to at least see if I can qualify for the World Championships. That is happening actually next weekend, or at least August 11th through the 13th. It's in Japan. I wasn't going to go to that one because I do not want to get a passport. I do not want to fuck up my sleep schedule as bad as it is already. So I will hopefully see what the next tournament, Worlds tournament, will be at, and if it's at a country where it won't necessarily screw up my sleep cycle so I can go straight back to work right after, I will probably go for that. Otherwise, I might just do another for fun thing. But I'm looking at some tournament Sketch, and it might be around 6 to 8. That's not a whom. That's a you sick individual. So, I will at least moderately keep
is that
people...
the age of the players?
No, I can't face against players that old. They do have divisions, though. So, like, what is it? It's juniors, seniors, masters. I'm in the masters. Masters, it's either 18 and over or 17 and over. Juniors is either 14, or juniors. Seniors is usually 14 to 17 or 14 to 18, like 14 to 16 or 13 to 16 or, something around there. And then if you're below either 14 or 13, that's juniors. So they do have age divisions that way, everyone can play, which is very good.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
I have been more focused on that as well as shiny hunting. So that's kind of been the bane of my... Listen. It's really easy in Scarlet and Violet now. I really enjoy that fact. I got 4 today, which was really good. Wow. Am I going to be using them competitively? One I could, although it would be kind of a meme pick. But you know what? Everyone loves Clodsire. Everyone loves it's the new Wooper evolution. It's a big pooping log looking thing. It's amazing. It's adorable. I nicknamed mine Pillow. I would hug it.
Live your best life, CJ.
You damn right, my friend. You damn right. So I've been very much into that. More so just because I am it's not me just playing, at home or doing like online stuff. It is, I'm pretty much semi-pro in a sense. So I have been very engulfed in that, so to say. I wish I could have enjoyed this break a little more, but first one coming up, second weekend of September. Woohoo! Oh, I can't wait.
Believe in the heart of the cards. That's the right anime, right?
Yes. Hey, listen, TCG also plays there, so I just count it as the same thing, my dog.
True that.
So, and Sketch, where can they find you?
You could find me on Twitter at Sketch1984. I'm also on Blue Sky at Sketch1984. And I recently unearthed my one of my Twitter alts that I forgot about. It's at TMNT Riffs, all one word. It's where I post Ninja Turtle stuff. Because I'm big into Ninja Turtles right now. It's all about the Ninja Turtles. Why? Because Toonami doesn't give me much to think about. I joke, but do I? Hopefully, we'll be getting some news sometime soon. Hopefully. I mean, we did get all those updates on the originals, which is fantastic. But that's mostly for later. Let's talk about what's coming up. Nothing.
Primal.
I got into an argument with somebody the other day. They're like, they will play Primal at 12:30 before they move One Piece up. Don't say that.
See, Sketch, you're just like cursing everything out there. It's like, so knocking on wood, man. Because I don't know if I want to tweet another whole thing of that.
It is kind of odd that Unicorn Warriors Eternal is nowhere on the schedule anywhere on Adult Swim right now.
That was a one and done, man.
It'll be back. They did say in the press release for Checkered Past that on Saturdays they would run that and My Adventures with Superman in the 6 p.m. hour, now 5 p.m. hour, I suppose. That can't be the only thing they put there because, they could do double episodes of both, but, we'll see.
Yep.
We will see. But we are, pretty early in the month still, at least when we're recording this. I think this one will, maybe there'll be news by the time I put this one out.
Hopefully.
And maybe I'll add it here, or maybe I won't. Well, Toonami didn't announce a new show, but we did get a schedule update for September 16th, and it's good news for both One Piece and Naruto fans. Starting off the night will be the second episode of Fooly Cooly Grunge. Then at 12:30, it's a full hour of One Piece. And at 1:30, it's a full hour of Naruto Shippuden. And we finish the night with the usual rerun of My Hero Academia at 2:30. Which wasn't shown on the schedule image, but DeMarco has confirmed that Toonami has not lost the 2:30 time slot. That looked a little concerning at first, and you can bet many conclusions were jumped to, and I am also guilty of this. So it turns out they are willing to air One Piece before 1 a.m., if they have literally nothing else to premiere. We don't know how long this schedule will last. It could just be 1 week to make up for preempting One Piece and Naruto for 2 marathons, but I have a feeling that it will last at least a couple of weeks. They could feasibly keep this schedule going until they have another show on deck. I'm a little surprised that they aren't rerunning Dr. Stone, but I suppose that gives them the freedom to start the second half of the season as soon as it's available, instead of being beholden to whenever the rerun ends. I also fully expected a movie to air on September 16th for Batman Day, since that was becoming a bit of a tradition, but it seems WBD decided they would rather show DC animated films Sunday nights as part of the Acme Night block. Well, not gonna lie, that is a better place to air an animated movie if you're gonna air one. It's more than a little discouraging that Toonami isn't immediately starting a new show to pair with Fooly Cooly Grunge, but at least the block is back to 5 premieres, and it's a nice change of pace to be getting this schedule a month in advance. Kudos to the crew for the timely heads up. I, for one, am looking forward to watching a full hour of One Piece and getting to bed at a more reasonable hour. That's all we have for now, but they have been making schedule updates weekly, so we'll do our best to keep you informed of any lineup additions. And with that, I return you to the rest of the podcast in progress. But that's okay. Yeah. Well, we hope you enjoyed this conversation about our adventures with Superman and Lois Lane.
Hey, he gets me, chat.
And
He does.
And we hope you stick around for our next conversation about the show, probably after the rest of the first part of the series ends, like episodes 6 to 10, probably.
Mm-hmm.
We will see, but hey, we were way more on top of it than we were with Unicorn. Let's just wait till the end.
Yeah.
Not this time. This time we're at least covering half of it, and we're doing that with Dr. Stone too. So
Let's go.
yeah, good job, us. So thank you for listening each and every time that you do. We always appreciate your listenership, and please share the podcast with your friends. I mean, if you know somebody who's into Superman, maybe they'd be interested in this episode, especially if they've been following My Adventures with Superman, then they should definitely follow My Adventures with Superman. And if they've been missing it all this time, it is on HBO Max, so you can get caught up. And with that, we thank you again for listening, and up, and away!
Gearing up for the world premiere of Fooly Cooly Grunge on September 9th with a Fooly Cooly Progressive Marathon.
When I want something, I get it! Where is she? The one who pulled that out of you!
Maybe this is how my body should have been.
Catch Fooly Cooly Progressive in its entirety.
Next Saturday from 1 till 4 a.m.
You can't escape me!
Only Toonami on Adult Swim.
When you were 11, you thought this was great. When times were simpler, and the internet didn't rule your life, but some things never change. Like this show will probably still scare the snot out of you. Adult Swim is bringing you relaxing times and afterward cartoons. Every weekday from 5 to 7. Checkered Past, August 28th at 5. On Adult Swim, you owe it to yourself.